Hey guys, so welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Let's carry on where we left off. It's the 18th of February, 12:52 p.m. The League of Assassins have somehow descended upon the Old Bailey, releasing a smoke bomb of sorts. I don't know where Mr. McGilded is. He may have done a runner. Let's find out. What on earth just happened in there?
Mr. Naruhodo, I managed to find out what happened.
Wow. So I just think things and I get the answer straight away. Brilliant.
Mr. Sato, I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade. A type of exploding device that releases smoke.
A grenade, really? During these times? At this place? Localized entirely in that courtroom, Mr. Sato? A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. And people who play military shooters 90 years in the future.
They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long.
But who would have done something like that?
The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently.
Was it Mr. McGilded? Flee the courtroom? Why? It's not like a massive smoke bomb exploded in the middle of court.
Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear.
Oh, the passenger. So she was here. Mr. McGilded was right, but why? A young girl. Then, could it be? The other passenger that Mr. McGilded was just talking about.
My thoughts exactly.
So he wasn't lying. Good to know. I can still believe in my client. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilded, actually? There are so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here.
I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer some questions.
Wait, what? He's on my team. I'm his defense. I should have first call to talk to Mr. McGilded here. I need to find out exactly what's going on. Why the hell is he talking to Van Zeeks?
Along with the young girl.
Oh, she's there too? Brilliant. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? If she is the culprit, it's kind of a dumb move, isn't it? Then again, we've had, not to act all meta or anything, but we've had two female culprits in the past two cases. I wonder if there's going to be a shake-up this time. She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? Not to mention, the last culprit was in her teens as well, I believe.
There's another matter that's troubling me.
What's that?
The 20 pence.
Oh, you mean the amount Beppo collected in terms of fares on that night? So, we established that he collected 20 pence. We thought there were 5 passengers because the fare is supposed to be 4, but then Beppo ended up charging 5, and yet somehow we managed to get 5 culprits anyway.
According to the coachman, Mr. Beppo.
Yep. Man, you took a lot of notes.
He took 4 passengers that night, at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly.
Wow, Susato, that book is getting more impressive by the minute. I didn't realize he had an Excel spreadsheet in there. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers.
Which means the figures don't seem to add up again.
Well, one was probably a vagrant, right? Getting on board without paying the fare. She's right, that is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed into the courtroom. Is it safe? The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away.
Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial.
What about my words that altered the direction of the trial, when I said that Mr. McGilded was actually not visible by the 3 witnesses? We'll know soon enough, Miss Susato.
Yes!
She's so excited. That's nice. I love the passion for her work. 18th of February, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Oh, there she is, on the stand, next to Mr. McGilded. Covering her face with a hat. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded, look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. But why, couldn't you have just waited a couple more minutes for a recess? Eventually we were going to have one, and then you could have acted like Altair or Ezio, in Assassin's Creed, blended in with the crowd. Did you really need to deploy a smoke bomb and assuredly draw attention to yourself? Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. I have aged 10 years since then, but thankfully I'm at that point in my life where you can't even notice. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord. I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade. of the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious! The army! What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by a young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery. But she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? Well, we're not getting anywhere, Judge. What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? I asked you 3 questions already, madam.
Ahem. If I may, my lord.
Yes, Mr. McGilded, what on earth is it?
I think perhaps I ought to explain here why it is that this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is.
Okay. Makes sense. Very well, Mr. McGilded, give your testimony. Since the other girl is uncooperative, you will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Well, Van Zeeks, you should know all the answers. You had, your chance to speak with both of them, in fact. I got none. Just what did happen that night? It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything, Jeez. It's like the blind leading the blind over here. Witness testimony, the young girl.
On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
In where? The compartment where all the tools are stored, I guess? I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct, or am I mistaken yet again?
It's exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the 5th passenger, my lord.
Okay, the 5th passenger. Can we call her a passenger or a stowaway, actually? Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. But I'm committing perjury by lying. I have no idea where to start. Van Zeeks, meditating over there, I see? Or are you trying to shake off the alcohol? You're getting tipsy now. Cross-examination. Alright, where do we begin on this one?
There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
This is the one I want to press. Where was she? Curled up in a ball, You say she was hiding herself.
Aye, that's right. It was hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in me chest.
Ugh, you're really overacting this. I mean, there's a dead body in the carriage, and he's seeing a girl whimpering in the corner. I can imagine how anxious he would be.
Still and all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her.
The seat opposite?
That's right, just next to the dead gentleman there.
Oh, and that's when they look down, I guess. You set this young girl next to a corpse, sir?
I just wanted to make sure she had a companion. Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. And while I was in the middle of talking with her, I heard another scream. A fella's voice this time.
Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck seats.
Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly.
In other words, the previous witnesses did not in fact see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason.
And yet Beppo still states that he saw, Mr. McGilded stabbing Mr. Mason on the floor, but I think we just said that,
he didn't actually see anything. So that was probably a lie then. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused perhaps with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. I do wonder how you must be feeling, Mr. Naruhodo. Being the defendant's lawyer, and yet finding myself as stunned as everyone else at his testimony. Let's just say it's, trying. Like I'm trying my very best. We certainly had precious little time to talk to Mr. McGilded before the trial. But we mustn't be dispirited. We must just try to learn all the facts we can. When we arrived in London this morning, I didn't see my day panning out like this. Can't wait for lunch. Mr. Naruhodo, no grumbling, even in your head. Ugh. How did you know? Was it my frown, my scowl? Okay, well that was a bust. Where else can we press, I wonder? Okay, well let's start with the statement prior to the one I just pressed. How you turned around. I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see that as... What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, if you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside! It came out of your ass? Good gracious! Under your backside? And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we could examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. But already honed in on it, Miss Susato. This would be a very good time to have a thorough look around inside. And that's when I found her. Okay, so you're saying I need to look at it again? Suppose there's no harm in it. I can always edit it out. The seat looks reasonably soft, but it's actually rather hard when you sit on it. And only just wide enough for two gentlemen to sit side by side, really. Of course, an English gentlewoman would be dressed in such finery. It would be quite impossible for her to climb up to the roof deck, so she would have to be seated in here. A woman in a kimono would have the same problem. Women's clothes are very impractical, aren't they? This is a storage compartment, but there's nothing in here. It's totally empty. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Where'd all the tools and stuff go? Weren't they in here? This entire time I didn't even realize there was bloodstains on the floor here. Was that here before? That's blood, isn't it? Am I just that blind, I guess? Is something wrong? Oh, it's just... Well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And yet, Van Zieks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. Huh. Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Why do I have such a bad feeling about this? Am I just doubting my memory? I mean, I guess I just didn't look that far down. But yeah, Van Zieks hasn't mentioned it whatsoever. I guess we just start pressing everything right now because I don't know where else to look.
Hold it!
Okay. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were. I see. Aye. That's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Van Zieks is just full-on silent. Why? What is he up to?
Hold it!
A loud thud, you say? And a scream? Aye, that's right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor, having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say.
And when the sound woke me and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. You didn't see anyone. But at the same moment you did hear a scream? From the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume. Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. Quite the opposite, in fact. Under me backside. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. Of course, I don't blame you. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I set him up on the seat across from me.
Hold it!
You set him up? The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? Yeah, you would, so police can investigate, and you don't tamper with the frickin' crime scene. Just common courtesy, so it is. Oh yeah, common courtesy, like I said, just like witnessing a murder on public transport, you know? If you do see it, you know what you need to do, your civic duty of propping the corpse on a seat, so they're at least comfortable. I find that a little hard to believe. Lord Van Zeeks! Now, why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Is that another short joke? Upstanding? I'm standing right now. Well, now, as you know, I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Well, when you put it like that, unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offered them. And some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? What? Right you are. There are some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? No. I would have got the hell out of there. Yes. The scream he says he heard at the same time as the thud of the victim collapsing. Thank you, I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? She has yet to identify herself. Name and occupation, please! Her name is GINA Lestrade, my lord. Lestrade, huh? You don't happen to be related to, or perhaps even, the Inspector Lestrade? She's a chancer. Earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. Oh, you're on the other side of the law, are you? What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here, a petty thief? Huh. Okay. It's not the Lestrade we know. Then again, we've got Herlock Sholmes here. Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question! Whoa, God. Ah! Okay, she's going to hang now. How dare you! What is the meaning of this? What? Ah! The girl, she's gone! Open your eyes. I'm over here. Good gracious! How? What a brilliant magic trick! What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on, that's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. I mean, it would be very convenient for me. At least I'll be able to continue my studies, because I found another culprit. But no. This is a court of law. We're here to determine the truth, not cast... Oh, no! Ah! Why do I get the toxic one? Then again, pink can also be considered poisonous, right? If we're going by Pokemon color coding. Ugh. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do.
Let me guess. You don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs.
Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheel drags.
That doesn't happen to be Herlock Sholmes' gun, does it?
It's nice, isn't it? I like the pink best.
Ugh. Do not wave that thing in my direction again! So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? Oh, fallen silent again, have we?
Just alright, lass. You can tell them the truth now.
Go on.
Alright, yeah. It's just like the Irishman said.
The court accepts this girl, Miss GINA LESTRADE, as a valid and significant witness in this case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please, as long as you don't open fire. You will tell the court exactly what happened in the omnibus on the night in question.
Alright. If I have to.
You have to. God, look at these two. Honestly, what the girl saw.
So I snuck inside the carriage before they locked up the horses, just like always. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in their hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then after a while, I heard this loud bang. Nearly jumped out my skin, I did. And the scream just came out. It's because of that, this swell found me. It did help me get away, mind.
Honor among thieves. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you would let this street urchin go, Mr. McGilded.
Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. She was under my backside the entire time, and I didn't feel her crawl out of there. The trunk, that is, not my literal asshole.
How?
As I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself.
I think a demonstration is called for. Really? Okay, let's reenact it.
This is where I was sat that night.
And the cubbyhole of which you have spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes. It does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature.
Aye, but of course, the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration.
Oh.
So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent.
Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question.
I guess he's a jerk with a heart of gold after all. Or a shark with a heart of gold.
Not at all, my lord, not at all. I knew in my own heart that I was innocent.
What's up with juror number 1? He seems a bit dodgy, no?
So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass.
My goodness. What a perfect gentleman.
My lord! This fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I'm ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir.
Oh my god, we're gonna get a not guilty. There's only one more left. It's the lady with the typewriter. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time.
We did it!
We won! Woo! No summation examination for you, Van Zeeks. It's an antiquated rule, after all.
Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty? That hardly ever happens. We always find people guilty here.
Mr. Naruhodo, this... Well, it must mean...
It must mean what? What's going on? What's happening? Why is everyone talking so much?
That we're victorious!
Huh? We've won? Are you sure?
Objection!
Oh my! If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray, do forgive the discourtesy. What's going on? This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. So, we're gonna argue why jury trials are bad, huh? I see. You don't happen to father Christoph, did you? Christoph Gavin? Emotion. The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? His silver tongue. Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Yes. There were things in there, but now there aren't. So what, did Mr. McGilded clear it up? To help prove the story, or what? Good lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Uh-oh. So it's true. My memory doesn't deceive me after all. Order! Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been effected, Counsel? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. Well, it's your fault for bringing a whole-ass crime scene into the court, okay? Where it's pretty freaking vulnerable, don't you think, in the middle of the floor? However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend? Huh? Me? You're asking me to concur? And I got on my high horse and said, no, this court is all about finding the truth, you know? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure. The young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. Well, Counsel? Do you have something to say on this matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case, or my cause as counsel for the defense. I already lied about being ready. What's another lie? But as far as I remember, at least. When I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, Counsel? Be west. What are you saying now, you daft daw? I thought you were on my side here. I thought you were on my side. You go bloody collude with the freaking prosecution during our brief recess? I'm an honorable Nipponese man. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. You're the one who asked me, okay? I'm answering you truthfully. Jeez. You get the answer you want to hear, and then you're wondering what game I'm playing? Van Zeeks, come on, man. You're drunk. Go home. Why would you say something to compromise his position? Because the truth shall set him free. As the advocate for the defense in this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand. But it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. To start altogether, pleasin', fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fella's memory is a curious thing and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That their cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think perhaps it would be in your best interests now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Unfortunately, I don't miss much. I'm a very observant fella. Why? Why do I feel like something's not right here? What the hell happened in between? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. They've already declared him not guilty. That compartment is designed to house equipment used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The guild's rules state that omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. Not that my guild rules have been followed lately. Right, Mr. Beppo? I'm still gonna strangle you once this is all done. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying. Oh. Alright, we're going back. We didn't even need a summation examination. Ugh. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. It's a trick! Of course it's a trick! Well, all my progress. Reversed. Quite so. I must concur here. We're back in black. Even Steven. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witness, please. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted, almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. Alright, you two. The truth and nothing but the truth, if you please. What the girl saw. Okay, having sifted through what GINA LESTRADE had to say to the court, I'm not sure if this is one of those times where we need to press every statement she utters, or we probably wait and see if Mr. McGilded reacts to what she has to say. Either way, I don't think there's anything to present here, so let's just start with this first statement, how she snuck into the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Makes sense to me. She wouldn't be able to sneak on if there were people already inside, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's the wrong idea, isn't it? I suppose she means there's no point spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Even though it goes against what society basically deems a rule to get rich, right? You need to spend money or have money to make money. And how being poor is expensive. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief? Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Sorry, Your Honor, absolutely. Miss Lestrade, you don't happen to have a dad who works for Scotland Yard, do you? Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And 1 little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? So that's when I slip into the carriage and get myself hidden under the seat. Nice and easy, right? So, this isn't your first rodeo. But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach. No? What do you have to say about that? Yeah, there's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, sure. I always chuck all that out and cram it in a corner somewhere. You chuck it all out and cram it in a corner, what, of the carriage?
No one ever seems to bother much.
Oh, right. So I guess people just see it on the ground, they forget it's there? Interesting. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia.
Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you.
Where did they go? Why remove it? Was there something among the paraphernalia that incriminates someone? It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue. Alright, next up. It was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for my troubles that night, sorry.
Hold it!
So, you came away empty-handed. A waste of time? Why is that?
Well, most nights I'm on my own in the guard permit at least some of the time.
I beg your pardon? Did you say guard permit?
Oh yeah. Well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while.
And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away?
That's it. Only that night. This cove was sat on me seat from the start.
And you had no way. Well, I mean, you couldn't get out even if someone was in there, so it didn't matter if it was sitting on your seat or not.
And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck.
Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin?
Yeah. Right, mister?
To be sure, to be sure.
I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you?
So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. Because Mr. McGilda's fat ass was sitting on the seat the entire time. What an alibi that is. I'll tell you, you can't see a blind thing in that pine place is pitching there. Is
Hold it!
So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all.
Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle.
Oh my. Fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher.
I mean, I can have a look. See, I get under ain't as plush as the other ones, see? So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason, that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head.
Interesting that people will choose the other seats, because if you do, you're facing away from where you're traveling, right? And having sat in that seat, that kind of seat, in a bus, for instance, on my way to university back in the day, I would say I was highly uncomfortable and no one really wanted to sit on those seats. Then again, she's saying that they're a lot more comfortable, so maybe? And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out. I see.
Truth is, I ain't too happy in a small dark places. Feels too much like being thrown into clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages, so it's Hobson's choice.
Right. Why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? Why do you need to wait while in a carriage and then, I guess, hop off when they do and pick their pocket? I'd say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor.
So anyways, I was a bit scared. I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it.
And after a while, I hear this loud bang, nearly jumped out my skin, I did, and the scream just came out. It just came out, did it? You couldn't stop yourself. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor?
Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump.
And you let out a scream involuntarily? Couldn't help myself.
That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden.
Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim. Could it not? But she heard commotion. What would the commotion be if he hadn't stabbed him yet? Well, girl, did you see what happened at that crucial moment? Hang your head in shame.
Yeah, I saw it.
Huh?
I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's while I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke with a... It's so hard to read this, like, as it goes. I should probably just wait until it's spelled out for me. The Irishman was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. Of course, you know? Don't you understand what I'm saying? That matches Mr. McGilded's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should never have risked looking. Because Mr. McGilded stared into your soul? It's because of that the swell found me. He did help me get away, mine.
Hold it!
Maybe I should have started with the last statement then, because we've gone through every single one, and when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out of your hiding place? Oh, scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason? Yeah. The bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. Ugh, how awful. Both me hands got covered in blood. Made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. Yep, that makes sense. Where are the rooftop passengers anyway? I hope they're all okay. Again, I'm still doubting my memory about that bloodstain I found on the floor. Don't tell me someone else got killed. Right under our noses, imagine. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while, is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know my name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from up above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. You kept your hat over your head. Then the horses were drawn up smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." Interesting. All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief shining moment, yes. I only realized that now after they freaking recanted some of them. It's clear that they all are still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Damn it! I pressed everything! Maybe we do need to present something. Or the reaction was subtle, and I didn't see it. Surely that's not the case. There's a pretty obvious sound cue when that happens. I guess we're gonna need to present something.
Well, no.
Whoa, 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 what's this? I knew I had to press through all these statements again. Why did I miss this the first time? How it feels like too much being thrown in the clink. Why are you reacting to this?
Excuse me.
Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something in the Manor Council? I'm just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps? You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. It's nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad, shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see. Yes, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. And yet I was forced to sleep in a wardrobe this entire journey to England. Or at least half of it. Aye, I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I suppose it does. Maybe. Huh? Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Anything, please, tell me! Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Jabbers! There's no need to tell the whole world of me foils, you little scamp! What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yeah. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's profoundly important. There's probably a contradiction somewhere. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important? But all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point, obviously. I'm almost sure of it.
I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Counsel. Nevertheless, Miss GINA Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please.
What? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all that fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me.
That's right. Insult the judge. Always a good move.
Jeez. Petty thief. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring.
Okay, what's up with that? I might need to press this, but you didn't hear any signs of a struggle? So you were straining to hear what was happening the entire time? Since the moment you hid yourself?
Not exactly, no.
Sorry?
Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push the cushion up and have the butchers to see what was what. But then, when I saw this swell getting on, I got my head down so he didn't notice me.
And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct?
Yeah! Would you Adam and Eve, eh? What a mug!
Well, he's reacted like that, but he didn't make a noise, so...
So then, all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would've? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving his pigs to market. Snoring like an old dog he was.
Are there any conclusions we could draw from that, I wonder? Oh, whoops. I didn't realize I was going to ask. Well, that all seems to make sense. No, it doesn't. You took your time reaching that conclusion, Counsel. Actually, the opposite, Judge. I rushed into it by accident. What was that from Van Zeeks? He's laughing at me and my premature ability. Is he laughing? Very well then, continue with the cross-examination. You mean rewind it? It doesn't add up. There we go. Miss Lestrade, what you have just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. Oh, at odds? Are you sure, man? Ask Lord Van Zeeks. He clearly found something funny. Absolutely. Oh, he's all serious face now. It seems my learned Nipponese friend is not as dull-witted as I feared. No, absolutely not. I'm clever. The judge can't understand me, though, but you can. So Van Zeeks realized it, too. That's why he was giggling at me. Counsel, I must insist that you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name at the very least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded's snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. Oh, God. There's something else she should have heard. She should have heard him getting stabbed, I guess? Let's show a person here. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. Thrice-fired Mason.
Take that!
Thrice-fired Mason? Yeah, my lord. Yes, my lord. Sorry, I should be saying yeah, that's pretty disrespectful. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. She said that she only heard snoring from above her and that no one entered the omnibus at all. Which is very curious indeed. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus, is that correct?
Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I?
And the next person aboard the omnibus was Mr. McGilded?
That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight.
So you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at the time?
Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own for sure.
And from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all?
Nah, never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't I? Waiting for this swell to leave.
In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage?
Oh,
We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. I'm telling you, that is not the true crime scene. He was killed somewhere else and dumped on board that omnibus somehow. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did, or did not hear, is at odds with the facts.
oh,
Alright. The plot thickens. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. Now it's my turn to put my leg up on my desk. He knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's statement. He probably knew since he started talking with her before recess was finished. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? Am I your friend? Am I really the friend of the Reaper? Of the Old Bailey? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. Convenient untruths.
he's dead, right? How could the victim possibly not have boarded the omnibus? That makes no sense whatsoever. And this girl is a pickpocket. Let's not forget that.
Interesting. So what, he brought her along to try and clear his name? What's all this about? Ugh, she shouldn't even say anything.
I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she was some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I disapprove highly. I can't abide liars.
And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, please wait, everyone hold on a second, okay? I know this is a pretty exciting trial and everything. There's no need to change your mind so suddenly and swiftly. I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. That's a word I don't see every day. But I must say, I can't abide liars. Oh god. There's only one left. And it's the maid. Please, don't maid or break my case.
Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty.
He's just like, well, the fence is doing my job for me. I'm just gonna have a drink. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. You're welcome. Where's my glass? Wait, you're drinking from my glass! Excuse me. Excuse me. Yes, very refreshing. Oh, I suck at being a lawyer. Gah! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Hamadan? Whoa, this is carnage. It's perfect. Oh god, now my client's got turned against me. Juror number 2 is the only one left.
Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going...
I know. If we can't find some new way to convince everyone Mr. McGilden's innocence, we're going to be playing 12 Angry Men. The judge will rule, and we'll have lost. Don't you dare.
I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen. But those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Hold it, please, wait. Just 1 second, guys. Sorry. You know, English is a hard language to grasp. I thought I was the prosecution in this case. I'm so terribly sorry. Got my wires crossed, everything. You know, I'd say jet lag, but jets don't exist yet. Boat lag. It's boat lag, okay? Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. But please, guys, please, for the love of God, I'm trying to start a career here. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. Guys, we just need to flip our thinking around, okay? What are you saying? Counsel!
I'm sorry, sir? Whatever do you mean?
Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once! When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? It's elementary. Really? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. He was in there already. There's another entrance. He was put there after he died. If he was in there already, where would he have been? I think there's only one compartment and she was in it. There's nowhere else to hide the body. Okay? So, I think we could rule out option 1. Now it leaves option 2 and option 3. There's another entrance? Possibly. But surely you'd have to make noise, right? But if he was put there after he died, that would also have to be making noise. So maybe there's another entrance, a quiet one, where he somehow ended up inside. It's gotta be. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the enclosed cabin some other way.
Objection!
I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Right. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other only has windows. Fixed windows which cannot possibly open. In short, there is no entrance to the cabin other than the door.
Objection!
But there could be. There's one possibility you haven't considered. Oh, really? Yes. One other way inside that isn't the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Yeah. I figured there'd be another entrance, but where it is, I don't know. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Damn it, I knew they were gonna ask this. Here's the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin? Well, you see... Funnily enough, let me just have a once-over, and we'll find the entrance, hey? Alright. Mr. Mason, how the hell did you get in here? We've got fixed windows, only one door. Doesn't seem to be anything obvious on the floor. Let's check the compartments. I mean, even if there was an entrance in here, I doubt it because Lestrade was already in here and McGilded was on top. This doesn't appear to open either because there's no handle. I mean, it could. The only thing I can think of is the skylight, but then, you know, Mr. First and Mr. Fairplay were up there, unless our good friend Mr. Mason came aboard before they did. Just have a quick look at this. It's a large skylight. No handle or catch. Can't be opened from inside the cabin. What about above? I think I see a handle up there. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening, that's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. No, it's not. But this is what's good for us, though. Some sort of lock. Okay. I'm gonna present the skylight here.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. Hence the music change. I say, the skylight. There we are.
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However...
Objection!
Well, keep those words, then. The skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim.
But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory?
There's a handle?
Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claimed to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Right, of course, that was the sound. You wouldn't make such a loud sound falling to the floor from your seat. Yes, which has already been explained as the sound of the victim falling from his seat having been assaulted with a dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. She couldn't help herself, Judge. She screamed. Good gracious. Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment that the victim made his entrance into the cabin. Now, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You found your words yet? You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Where's your evidence? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. That's what I was thinking. That's why it had me doubtful at the very least, so it just depends on when he came in. What's the timeline? And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but that was the question. The question was there another entrance into the cabin? And I think I found it, so toodaloo.